And happy Monday, my friends. It's time for my Monday book review. It is a regular feature on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe for more. Every Monday, I review a book. Could be fiction, could be nonfiction. And try and give you an idea of not only what the book is like, but some ideas about purchasing information as well. The book I have today is actually was a series of books produced annually by the Spalding Athletic Library and edited by a man named John B. Foster. These are the Spalding Official Baseball Guides, and if you are into baseball history, particularly if you are into a particular season of baseball history in the first part of the 20th century, these things are unbelievable. I was doing some research on the 1930s, baseball in the 30s, and I stumbled on these because Bill James talked about them in one of his books. I couldn't remember which one, and anyway, did some hunting and found them available on eBay, but they're also available at used booksellers as well. And if you are not as concerned about having the cover on the book, which I was not because I wanted the content. So in other words, if you're not a collector, but if you're a baseball fan and you want to learn about the old days, this is a resource that is incredible. What you find in these books are several things. First of all, they give you an overview of baseball to that point, a little bit of baseball history to that point, whatever year, whatever season it happens to be. These are produced as previews for the season. There's information about the Hall of Fame up to that point. There is a picture of each team, but it's not a team picture as such, but they are remarkable documents just to look at the players that were considered the main guys on each team. Then there's a few pages of text describing the team and how they've been doing over the last 5 years, but also what things look like for the team this season, whatever season that happens to be. You also get an overview of each league, what the pennant races are looking like, and thorough, for the time period, stats. I mean, there are stats here. I'll give you an example. Here's a picture. Some pictures in here as well. It's a picture of Jim Turner of the Red Sox. There are rules as well in the book. Lefty Gomez. Rules for baseball are described in the book, but then look at the stats that you get. And I know what you're going to say. Baseball Reference has more, and they do, but you learn a lot about the time period by looking at the stats that they valued, and the stats they valued were in these Spalding guides. Not only is there offensive stats, not only are there pitching stats, but there's even some defensive stuff here as well, defensive stats. And then you get into the minor leagues, and so you can look for the players that eventually became stars, but even to get an idea of what the minor leagues were like in this time period is just fascinating to me. Then you get the writing. And the writing is amazing. It is a, how can I describe the writing? It is very sort of formal, extremely formal, in describing the players and their abilities. I'll read this to you so you can get a glimpse of this. This is from the 1938 guide about the Cubs, who would become the National League champions in 1938 season. Here's the start of their section for the 38 guide. When the Cubs took the field in 1937, they were not rated as pennant winners. They were conceded second or third place at the finish, in the opinion of the experts, who predicted as to how the season would result. But to finish on top and ahead of St. Louis, that was expecting just too much. St. Louis had persuaded Chicago to give up its best pitcher, Warneke, for Collins, a first baseman, and Parmalee, a fairly good pitcher, but of no such artist as Warneke, had proved himself to the satisfaction of the Chicago public. It's stuff like this. I know it's the history teacher in me, but wow. It's language like this that just doesn't get used in baseball publications anymore, and certainly not on the internet. So you learn a lot about the time period. You learn a lot about the teams. There are statistics. There are rules. There's information about baseball history up to this point. But then you can also learn a lot about who were the big players in their point of view back then. Not now, looking back at the numbers, but back then as they looked at player performance. It's a goldmine of stuff. I have two of them, 1938 and 1939. They are about 400 pages each. And again, if you don't care about the cover, you can find them for between $10 and $20, and you will be reading forever. It is good, interesting stuff if you're a fan of baseball in the early part of the 20th century. I strongly encourage you to pick one up or more. They're available on eBay. You can also hunt them down through used booksellers. And that is my book review for this Monday. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. I need your subscriptions to my channel. There's lots more good stuff coming up. Thank you again. Have a wonderful Monday. So long, everybody.